Hey, how's it going, everybody? Today we're going to do a quick tutorial on how to set up an ATLS Grade Crossing. A lot of you guys have been requesting that I do this tutorial, and this is going to be a quick, short tutorial on just how to get the crossing set up. The ATLS system is very expansive, and there's a lot you can do with it, and this is just going to be one aspect of it. So here is what you're going to need. The very first thing you're going to need from the download station is the ATLS trigger, okay? Right there. This is different from the regular triggers. So you have to have the ATLS trigger. The next thing you're going to need is the ATLS controller, and then the ATLS slave, as well as a traffic stopper, your favorite crossbucks. These are the ones I'm using. They're from Jointed Rails website. You're going to need your favorite road, your favorite railroad tracks, and some invisible track. And we are going to refer to the invisible track as wiring from here on out. And the one that I'm using here is Invisible Wire Red by BNSF 50. There's a few varieties out there, but that's what we're gonna use. So first thing you're gonna want to do is the most annoying part, in my opinion, and that is cut in the traffic stopper. And this is what is gonna actually stop the traffic on the road when the train goes by. So what you have to do is put a spline point right at the center of the intersection between the tracks and the road. Then use your spline split tool, split spline, to split up the road and drag one of those just out of the way. The next thing you're gonna wanna do is grab your traffic stopper and center it on the tracks. And try to center it on your road. There is a way, if you look closely, you could see the spline points kind of line up. This is not gonna automatically snap to your road. You're gonna have to connect it. And that's what is kind of annoying about this. So let's get it kind of close right there. Okay. Then you can reconnect your roads. If I can grab it. There we go. And then you can grab it there. And one of the problems with that is that it is actually under the tile. So you have to raise it back up to the proper height. And we will do that by using our object height tool and just bring it back up a little bit higher. All right, so next thing you're gonna wanna do is put your crossbucks in place. So we will put this one here, and we'll throw this one on this side. And I'm just gonna kind of eyeball it a little tiny bit. I think 270 is about where we wanna be. Close enough, let's move it in. All right. So the next thing is important, these next two things, and that is the controller and the slave. You need to have one of these set up at each crossing. So every crossing that you make is gonna get one of these controllers and one of these slaves. And what that's gonna do is give the signal to put the gates down. And I'm gonna show you how to do that right now. So first thing, we're gonna grab our invisible wire, our invisible track, and you're gonna connect the slave to the crossbucks, out the other side of the crossbucks, to the stopper, out the other side of the stopper, and into the other crossbucks. And what this does, what the slave does, is it creates an invisible train that activates these gates and activates the stopper. So that's how the game reads that to stop the traffic and to actually activate these things. So an invisible train is going to be created in this process. Obviously, you're not going to see it. You're not going to know it's there. It's not even going to show up in your little driver console. It's just totally invisible, and it's there just for the sheer purpose of activating these things. All right, so the next thing you're going to want to do is you have to program the slave and the controller. So we're going to do the controller first, and you have to do that in your objects panel. All right, so this is where people probably start to get confused because they see all this and they say, what in the world are we doing? When you're setting it up just for a grade crossing, all you have to do is take this routes section here and hit the minus button, and that turns it into level crossing mode. That's it. You set that, and then you set your number, okay? So this is basically like the radio frequency that you're gonna wanna tune it to. Each crossing you're gonna wanna have on a different channel number so that they don't interfere with each other. You can put more than one on the same number, but then the gates are gonna activate all at the same time. Or you might get some kind of mixy stuff. It's best just to have it as a unique number. You can adjust it by hitting the plus and minus buttons here, as well as if you double click on the channel button, you can plug in a number. So you don't have to hit that 123 times. And I believe this supports up to 999 channels. So we are gonna use channel 123 just for the sake of this. Hit the check mark. Now what we wanna do is come over to the slave and do the same thing, channel 123. So now they're gonna talk to each other. We also have to set the slave up to level crossing mode. So again, we're gonna come over here and hit the minus button. That sets this to LCM. All this other stuff is for, like I said, more advanced circuitry, which we can get into in another tutorial, but right now we're just gonna focus on just control traffic on route LCM. That's it. You just hit that minus button, that's it. Hit the check mark. Next thing you're gonna wanna do is get your ATLS triggers and put them a pretty decent distance away. I'm gonna put them close just for this demonstration so we can actually see how this works. Okay, you're gonna put one on each side of your crossing. Okay, just like that. These things can be far apart, they can be close, whatever you want. It's usually better to have it further away so the gates have time to get down by the time the train shows up. So again, the next thing we have to do is use our little question mark icon here and edit this. So same thing, we're gonna set this to channel 123 so that all three of these things are talking to each other. And you're gonna set this, right now it defaults to SPL. And actually, that's what you leave it on. Leave it on SPL. And that's it. So once you put in the channel for this, that's all you have to do. Don't even worry about this next section. That's for more advanced stuff. Hit the check mark. Perfect. We're gonna do the same thing for over here. Channel 123. All right. And now we're all set. That's it. And what'll happen is when we have a train that shows up, let's grab a train car. Well, we want an engine. How about this Conrail GP38? All right, so we got this guy's here. As he rolls up, as soon as he gets within range of this trigger and he activates it, that's what is gonna trigger this to produce an invisible train, which is then gonna activate these gates, put the gates down, stop the traffic, all that. As the train goes by, once he passes this second trigger, it's gonna get a signal sent out again to the controller and to the slave to get rid of that invisible train, and the gates will go back up. So let's go into driver and we will take a look at how this works. All right, so as you can see, you're not seeing any of the ATLS devices here at all. You don't see the stopper, you don't see the invisible track, everything is invisible. So this is hooked up, and once we start going forward, I believe the trigger is right about here. Once the engine gets within the range of that trigger, there it is. We activated the gates, the car is stopping. Perfect. And what we'll see as the train crosses to the other side, once he hits that trigger on the other side, then the gates will go back up, and that is it. That's piece of cake. And so each crossing that you build, you just have to have a different number for. So this was 123, the next one could be 124, 125, whatever. And we should see it go back up in just a second. He just has to go out of range of the trigger. There we go. Out of range of the trigger, gates go back up. Perfect. And the cars can go by. So it's just that simple, guys. I hope that answered some questions for you. I hope you guys learned a thing or two. If you have any other questions, I guess leave a comment, and I'll see if I could try to answer it for you through the comments. Otherwise, there is the Trainz forum is a great place to get answers for a lot of this type of stuff, but I do my best here. So that's it, guys. That is how to set up an ATLS crossing. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.